deep in the black velvet of space, where the edges of the Kuiper Belt meld into the endless unknown, Dr. Isla Marin worked aboard the Orion's Plight. The ship, a sturdy mining vessel retrofitted for deep space exploration, served as both her home and her mobile clinic. Dr. Marin, a veterinarian with an uncanny knack for xenobiology, had not expected her career to catapult her among the stars. Yet here she was, treating exotic species that textbooks on Earth had not even dreamed of. Her current routine was interrupted by a sharp, urgent beep from her communication console. A distress signal, coded for medical emergencies, was broadcasting across the local channels, desperate for attention. Isla immediately patched the audio through her ship's speaker system. "This is the Vraxian freighter Glint of Hope, calling for medical assistance. We carry the Zorathian Behemoth, a creature of significant importance and immense power. It is in critical condition and requires immediate specialist care. Coordinates are being transmitted." The message was unusual. The Zorathian Behemoth was legendary, a creature known both for its immense size, capable of shadowing small moons, and its psychic abilities that could quell or inflame the minds of others at will. It was a creature feared by many, a being of lore and nightmares, rarely seen and even more rarely approached. Intrigued and slightly apprehensive, Isla responded to the call. "This is Dr. Isla Marin aboard the Orion's Plight. I am a vet with specialization in xenobiological entities. I am preparing to set course to your coordinates now." As she set her ship's navigation to meet the Glint of Hope, Isla prepared her medical kit, her mind racing with the possibilities of what ailment might afflict such a creature. The behemoth's reputation was built on its resilience and predatory prowess. Whatever could bring such a beast low must be a formidable challenge. Upon docking with the Vraxian freighter, Isla was greeted by a crew of Telix, the behemoth's caretakers. The Telix were small, agile beings with translucent skin that shimmered with a spectrum of colors reflecting their mood. They were visibly stressed, their bodies flickering with shades of deep blue and gray. "Thank you for coming, Dr. Marin," the captain, a Tilic named Quillix, said. "We've been at a loss. The behemoth started deteriorating shortly after an encounter with space pirates. We managed to escape, but it has been unwell ever since." Isla followed Quillix to the medical bay where the behemoth was contained. The sight was sobering. The creature, easily the size of her entire ship, was curled up, its scales dulled and eyes dim. Its breathing was shallow, every exhale a low, mournful groan that resonated through the chamber. Using her advanced med-tech scanner, Isla began her examination, carefully navigating the behemoth physiology to diagnose the problem. After some minutes, her scanner beeped, identifying the presence of a rare, aggressive parasite, typically found in the darker, uncharted realms of space. "The good news," Isla began, turning to face the anxious crew, "is that I know what's wrong. The bad news is that the cure isn't simple. It's a serum derived from a plant found on Vortaxa, a planet with its own share of dangers." Quillix nodded, his color shifting to a determined shade of green. "Whatever it takes, Doctor. We cannot lose the behemoth." Resolved, Isla prepared for the journey ahead, unaware that this was only the beginning of her deep dive into galactic intrigue, with the fate of a legendary creature, and perhaps more, resting in her hands. As Isla's ship approached the Vraxian freighter Glint of Hope, the massive scale of the alien craft overshadowed her own vessel, a testament to the enormity of the cargo it carried. After docking successfully, Isla carried her medical equipment through the narrow, dimly lit corridors of the ship, her steps echoing slightly in the quiet. The Tiliks led her to a reinforced containment area where the Zorathian behemoth lay. The sight of the creature was truly awe-inspiring. Even in its weakened state, the behemoth was a towering figure, its body covered in thick, rugged scales that shimmered with a subtle metallic sheen, and large, somber eyes that seemed to flicker with inner light. The air around it vibrated softly, a residual effect of its dormant psychic abilities. Isla, maintaining a respectful distance, set up her diagnostic equipment. "I'll need to do a full scan to assess its condition and confirm the best treatment approach," she explained to Quillix, who nodded, watching her movements with visible anxiety. The scan revealed intricate details about the behemoth's anatomy. Its body housed multiple organs with no earthly equivalent, and its neurological system was incredibly complex, hinting at its capacity for psychic prowess. However, it was the dark, tangled mass near its core that drew Isla's attention. "This looks like a severe parasitic infection," Isla muttered, analyzing the scan results on her portable screen. As she probed the images, the behemoth stirred, its eyes focusing on Isla with an intensity that made the air thicken. For a moment, Isla felt a surge of fear, quickly suppressed by her professional calm. "I'm here to help," she said softly, unsure if the creature could understand her, but feeling it necessary to communicate her intent. The behemoth's gaze lingered on Isla, then, almost imperceptibly, it relaxed, the tension in its form easing slightly. Quillix, observing this interaction, seemed surprised. "It rarely shows calm around strangers. You have a rare gift, Doctor." Encouraged, Isla returned her focus to the task at hand. "The parasite is leeching off the behemoth's energy. It's a rare species. I've read about it, but never seen it until now. The cure requires a specific compound that's derived from a plant on Vortaxa. It's not just picking a flower. The plant itself is rare and usually guarded." Quillix's color shifted to a shade of orange, signaling his concern. Vortaxa is a contested planet. Several species claim it, and they don't welcome intruders. "We'll need to be cautious and diplomatic," Isla responded. "I can treat the symptoms to stabilize your behemoth for now, but we should prepare for a journey to Vortaxa as soon as possible." After administering a temporary treatment that involved a series of injections and energy supplements, Isla began planning their next steps. She contacted her contacts in the sector, gathering information about Vortaxa, while Quillix prepared his ship for a swift departure. The journey to Vortaxa was fraught with tension and uncertainty. The planet, lush and verdant from space, harbored secrets that only the bravest dared to uncover. As the glint of hope approached, Isla could see the beautiful but foreboding landscape through the viewport. The planet was a patchwork of towering jungles, vast oceans, and deep valleys, all under the shadow of constant, low-hanging clouds. "I've arranged for us to land near the coordinates of the last known sighting of the plant," Isla informed Quillix and his crew. "But we need to be prepared for resistance. The locals are protective of their resources, and this plant is especially valued." Quillix nodded, his colors swirling with apprehension. "We will follow your lead, Doctor. Our ship is armed, but we prefer to avoid conflict if possible." As they landed, Isla equipped herself with both her medical kit and a protective suit designed for rough terrain. The atmosphere of Vortaxa was breathable but filled with spores that could cause hallucinations if inhaled directly. The Tillix, being more susceptible to atmospheric toxins, wore full environmental suits. They ventured into the dense jungle, guided by Isla's handheld GPS device that beeped intermittently as they drew closer to their target. The jungle was alive with sounds, cries of unseen creatures and the rustling of leaves. Every shadow seemed to move, and every sound suggested the presence of something unseen. The group encountered several alien species, curious or cautious, but Isla's calm demeanor and the Tillix's respectful distance kept confrontations at bay. After several hours, they reached a clearing where the plant, known as the nectar of Vortax, purportedly grew. There, they found more than they bargained for. Two alien factions, clearly in dispute, were gathered around a cluster of the rare plants. Their weapons weren't drawn yet, but the tension was palpable. "We need to negotiate," Isla whispered to Quillix, who relayed this in a series of chirps and colors to his crew. Stepping forward, Isla called out in Galactic Standard, hoping both parties would understand. "We come in peace and need your help," she started, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "We seek only a small sample of the nectar of Vortax to cure a sick creature. We are willing to provide medical assistance in return or whatever service you deem fair." There was a tense pause as the alien factions looked between each other and at Isla. Finally, one of them, a tall insectoid creature with multiple eyes, stepped forward. "Your offer is heard," it clicked, its voice a series of sharp, resonant tones. "We will consult. Do not proceed until we signal." Isla nodded, stepping back to join the Tiliks. They waited, the sounds of the jungle seeming to close in around them. After what felt like an eternity, the creatures signaled their acceptance. "You may take what you need. In exchange, assist us with medical aid for our wounded. The conflicts over resources have left many in need." Relieved and grateful, Isla agreed, and while she carefully harvested the necessary plants, her mind worked on how she might fulfill her part of the bargain. With the precious cargo secured, they retreated to a makeshift camp where Isla set up a temporary clinic. The rest of the day was spent treating a variety of ailments, from minor injuries to complex conditions, using her extensive xenomedical knowledge. The gratitude from those she helped was palpable, earning her and her companions respect and the potential for safer passage in the future. As night fell on Vortaxa, Isla felt a profound connection to this wild, wonderful planet and its inhabitants. With the cure in hand, they prepared to depart at dawn, hopeful that the serum would save the behemoth and grateful for the unexpected alliances they had formed. After a restless night under the dense canopy of Vortaxa's jungle, Isla and the Tiliks prepared for departure. With the harvested nectar of Vortax safely stored, they were ready to return to the glint of hope. However, as the first light of dawn filtered through the foliage, their plans took an unexpected turn. The faint hum of engines broke the morning silence, a sound that grew louder and more ominous with each passing moment. Quillix's colors shifted rapidly, signaling alert and alarm. "Pirates," he murmured, his voice tense. "They must have been monitoring our communications or tracking our ship." The group hurried back toward their landing site, moving as quickly and quietly as the dense underbrush would allow. As they approached, they saw several armed figures milling around their ship, clearly waiting for them to return. "We need a strategy," Isla whispered, scanning the area for any advantage they could use. "We can't just walk in there." Quillix nodded, pointing to a series of large hanging vines to their right. "A diversion. We draw some away, then circle back to the ship." Isla agreed, and together with two of the Tiliks, she carefully moved to the opposite side of the clearing, using a small device to mimic the sound of their ship's engines starting. As expected, several pirates detached from the main group to investigate the noise, their movements hurried and focused. With fewer guards, Isla, Quillix, and the remaining Tiliks made their move. They approached from the back, using the natural foliage as cover. The element of surprise was their only advantage as they came upon the pirates. A brief but intense skirmish erupted. Isla, though primarily a veterinarian, had received basic combat training and found herself relying on every bit of it as they fought to reclaim their ship. The Tiliks, small but fierce, proved formidable in close quarters, their agility allowing them to outmaneuver the larger, clumsier pirates. As the last of the pirates fell, the group hurried aboard the ship, firing up the engines and lifting off before any more trouble could arrive. Isla breathed a sigh of relief as they cleared the planet's atmosphere, but her mind was already on the next steps. "Let's synthesize the cure," she said to Quillix, who was nursing a minor wound. "We need to get this done before we run into any more trouble." Back in the safety of their lab, Isla worked quickly to process the nectar of Vortax into a serum. The complex biochemical structure of the plant required precise handling, and she was acutely aware of each minute passing. Meanwhile, Quillix communicated with his crew, ensuring they remained vigilant and ready for any further attacks. Hours later, the serum was ready. It was a vibrant, luminescent liquid, pulsing faintly with the life force of the nectar of Vortax. Isla held up the vial, a small triumph amid the chaos, and prepared to administer it to the behemoth. The crew gathered in the medical bay as Isla approached the massive creature, now more responsive but still visibly weak. With a steady hand, she injected the serum into one of the behemoth's main arterial conduits. Almost immediately, the behemoth's color began to return, its eyes brightening and a low, resonant purr vibrating through the room. The creature's recovery was rapid, much to the relief and awe of everyone present. As the behemoth regained strength, the ship set its course back to the Kuiper Belt, but their adventure was far from over. News of the behemoth's vulnerability had spread across the galaxy, attracting not just pirates, but also bounty hunters and mercenaries eager to claim the title of the one who felled the galaxy's terror. Isla, alongside the Taliks and their newfound allies, prepared for the challenges ahead, knowing that the fight for the behemoth's life was only just beginning. As the glint of hope made its way back through the star-studded blackness of space, Isla and the crew's sense of relief was overshadowed by a mounting sense of foreboding. The behemoth's condition was improving, its powerful form slowly regenerating under the effects of the serum, but the danger was far from over. The news of the behemoth's vulnerability had traveled like wildfire across the galaxy, igniting interest from various unsavory elements. Mercenaries, bounty hunters, and even rival scientific factions saw an opportunity in the weakened state of the galaxy's most feared creature. Quillax approached Isla in the cockpit, his colors dimmed with worry. "Dr. Marin, we've intercepted communications. Several groups are converging on our trajectory. They're not just curious, they're armed." Isla frowned, her mind racing for solutions. "We need to prepare for a possible attack. Do we have allies we can call on? Anyone who owes us a favor?" Quillax nodded slowly. "Perhaps the alliances we forged on Vortaxa might be of help. The factions we aided have access to formidable defenses. I will send out a call for assistance." While Quillax set about securing potential reinforcements, Isla returned to the medical bay to check on the behemoth. The creature seemed to sense the looming threat, its eyes following her movements with an intelligence that went beyond simple animal awareness. "We're not out of the woods yet, but I'm here with you," she assured it, placing a gentle hand on its massive paw. The behemoth rumbled softly, a sound that Isla chose to interpret as gratitude. Back in the command center, the crew braced themselves as radar picked up several fast-approaching ships. "Looks like we're about to have company," Isla noted, examining the blips closing in on their position. The first wave of attackers was a group of ragtag mercenaries and patched-up fighters. They likely expected an easy target, not a ship prepared for battle. The Glint of Hope was equipped with defensive systems, primarily for asteroid deflection, but they proved surprisingly effective against the makeshift weaponry of the mercenaries. As the ship's cannons fired, lighting up the void with bursts of energy, Isla felt a rush of adrenaline. She wasn't just a vet anymore, she was a defender, a protector of a creature that had once symbolized fear across countless worlds. The skirmish was brief, but intense. Quillax maneuvered the ship with impressive skill, dodging incoming fire while their defensive systems took out 2 enemy fighters, sending them spiraling into the abyss of space. No sooner had the mercenaries retreated, licking their wounds, than a new threat emerged. This time, it was a well-organized band of bounty hunters, their ships sleek and bristling with weaponry. The stakes were higher, and the Glint of Hope shook under the impact of their advanced cannons. Just as the situation seemed dire, a ripple of psychic energy pulsed through the ship. The behemoth, regaining some of its powers, was responding to the threat. Lights flickered as the creature's psychic force interfered with the electronic systems of the attacking ships. Utilizing this unexpected advantage, Isla coordinated with Quillax to launch a counteroffensive. "Now, while they're disoriented!" she shouted. With precise shots, they disabled the lead hunter's ship, causing confusion and disarray among the ranks. Seizing the moment, the reinforcements from Vortaxa arrived, a formidable fleet that flanked the Glint of Hope, their weapons a clear threat to any who dared continue the assault. The bounty hunters, recognizing the turn of the tide, withdrew, leaving the area in a high-speed retreat. The crew of the Glint of Hope breathed a collective sigh of relief. Their immediate danger passed, but aware that the journey home was still fraught with peril. As the ship resumed its course, Isla returned to the behemoth's side, her respect for the creature deepening. "You're full of surprises," she said softly, watching as it closed its eyes, perhaps finally able to rest without the shadow of death looming over it. Her connection with the behemoth had grown, founded on mutual respect and a shared will to survive. With the immediate threats quelled and the Glint of Hope back on course to the Kuiper Belt, Isla felt a temporary respite, The serum from Vortaxa's rare plant had fully integrated into the behemoth's system, fostering a rapid regeneration of its health. Observing the creature regain its strength and vitality was nothing short of miraculous. Its massive frame, once lethargic and fading, now pulsed with renewed energy, its scales regaining their iridescent sheen. However, the galaxy is rarely forgiving for long, and their journey remained perilous. As the behemoth's recovery became evident, it attracted new challenges. News of its revival and the potential resurgence of its legendary powers spread quickly, reigniting interest from more dangerous quarters. Among these was Krezar Thun, a warlord whose infamy stretched across several star systems. Thun had been tracking the behemoth's decline with interest, hoping to harness its powers for his own dominion. With the beast's revival, he saw his opportunity slipping and decided to intervene personally. As the glint of hope navigated through a nebula, reducing their visibility to outside sensors, an alarm blared suddenly. Quillex rushed to the navigation console, his colors flashing in alarm. "It's a trap!" he exclaimed. "Sensors detect multiple ships decloaking around us. Krezar Thun's fleet!" Isla's heart sank. This was no ragtag group of bounty hunters. They were facing a well-organized military force. "Prepare for a fight!" she commanded, her voice steady despite the rising panic. She had come to care deeply for the behemoth, and was not about to let harm come to it again. Krezar Thun's ships encircled the glint of hope, cutting off all possible escape routes. Through the communication channel, Thun's voice boomed, filled with menace. "Hand over the behemoth, and you may yet live! Defy me, and you will all perish!" Quillex looked to Isla, his expression grave. "We can't outfight them, but maybe we can outsmart them." Isla nodded, her mind racing. She approached the behemoth, speaking softly to the colossal creature. "We need your help now more than ever. Can you do something?" Understanding seemed to flicker in the behemoth's eyes. It nodded slightly, a deep rumble echoing through the ship's hull. As Thun's forces prepared to board, the behemoth unleashed a wave of psychic energy. The pulse was not lethal, but disorienting, scrambling the enemy's ship systems and causing widespread confusion among the crew. Seizing the moment, Isla directed the Tillix to counterattack. "Now, while they're stunned!" They maneuvered the glint of hope through the smallest gap in the blockade, blasting away with every weapon at their disposal. The skirmish was chaotic. Krezar Thun's ships, superior in firepower, gradually regained control, returning fire with ferocious intensity. But the glint of hope was no longer an easy target. With each passing moment, the behemoth grew stronger, its psychic assaults becoming more focused and forceful. In a desperate move, Thun attempted to ram their ship, hoping to capture the behemoth in a last-ditch effort. Isla, anticipating his maneuver, had Quillex execute a risky but well-timed sidestep using the ship's thrusters. The collision was avoided by mere meters, and the glint of hope broke through the enemy lines. Behind them, Thun's fleet collided with each other in their disoriented state, causing significant damage. With Thun's fleet in disarray, Isla made the call to jump to hyperspace, and the glint of hope vanished from the nebula, leaving a frustrated and beaten warlord behind. As they emerged into safer space, Isla sighed in relief, her admiration for the behemoth's resilience and newfound might growing deeper. She patted the creature gently, whispering, "Thank you, my friend. Let's get you home." The behemoth rumbled back, a sound that now resonated not just with power, but with an unspoken bond that had been forged in the heat of battle. A bond between species, between savior and saved, between a human and the galaxy's most feared creature. With the glint of hope now safely hurtling through hyperspace, the atmosphere among the crew shifted from tense anticipation to cautious optimism. The behemoth's recovery was nearly complete, its energy levels restored and its scales shimmering with vibrant colors that danced with each movement. More than just physically healed, there was a perceptible shift in the creature's demeanor. It appeared calmer, more connected to its surroundings and the beings caring for it, especially Isla. Isla spent hours in the behemoth's chamber, observing its behavior and documenting its recovery. The psychic link that had formed between them during their trials was unusual, transcending typical human-alien interactions. It was as if their shared experiences had forged a bond of mutual respect and understanding. One evening, as the ship's artificial lights dimmed to simulate night, Isla sat beside the behemoth, her hand resting gently against its massive flank. The creature turned its large, wise eyes towards her, and for a moment she felt a gentle brush against her mind, soft and tentative. "You're reaching out," Isla whispered, her voice a mix of wonder and reverence. "Aren't you?" The behemoth rumbled lowly, its eyes softening. The psychic touch grew stronger, not invasive but inviting, a sharing of memories and feelings. Images and sensations flooded Isla's mind. Views of distant worlds, the coldness of space, the warmth of a star, and the profound loneliness of being feared and misunderstood. Moved by the depth of the creature's experiences, Isla responded with her own stream of consciousness. Her childhood on a small farm on Earth, her decision to study veterinary medicine, her awe and compassion for the creatures she treated, and her deep, unyielding desire to help. The exchange was a revelation to Isla, deepening her empathy for the behemoth beyond the professional duty of a healer. "You're not just a creature," she murmured, as the connection gently faded. "You're a being with a story, with fears and hopes." Over the following days, as they neared the edge of the Kuiper Belt, Isla and the behemoth continued their silent dialogues, each session enriching her understanding of the creature and, conversely, the behemoth's understanding of humans. The crew of the Glint of Hope observed this evolving relationship with a mix of curiosity and awe. Quilex approached Isla one day, his colors showing his usual vibrant curiosity. "You have changed much since you came aboard, Dr. Marin, and so has the behemoth. It is peaceful." "It's a different kind of healing," Isla replied, her eyes not leaving the behemoth. "Not just of the body, but perhaps of the soul." As they prepared to re-enter the familiar space of the solar system, news of the behemoth's recovery and the remarkable change in its behavior began to spread across human and alien networks. Instead of the feared destroyer of worlds, it was now being seen as a complex entity capable of deep connections, a narrative shift that intrigued many throughout the galaxy. Their arrival back into human-controlled space was met with a mixture of trepidation and excitement. Various scientific communities and even some political factions expressed a desire to meet and study the behemoth under Isla's supervision, ensuring its safety and dignity. The behemoth's newfound tranquility seemed to have a soothing effect on those who came into contact with it, altering preconceived notions and fostering a broader understanding of the misunderstood creatures of the galaxy. For Isla, the return was bittersweet. She knew her journey with the behemoth was coming to an end, but the impact of their encounter, the knowledge exchanged, and the barriers broken would resonate far beyond the confines of her clinic aboard the Orion's Plight. As the Glint of Hope docked at the expansive international space habitat near Earth, a welcoming committee awaited, composed of top xenobiologists, diplomats, and media crews. The news of the behemoth's recovery and transformation had captivated audiences across the galaxy, and its arrival was no small event. Isla, standing beside the behemoth inside its specialized transport bay, felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. She had grown to understand this majestic creature on a profound level, and now she was about to introduce it to the world in a way it had never been seen before. Quilex and his crew were also present, their bodies shimmering with hues of anticipation. As the bay doors opened, a hush fell over the crowd. The behemoth, once a symbol of terror, now emanated a serene presence, its eyes glistening calmly as it surveyed the gathering. The initial fear that flickered across the faces of the onlookers quickly turned to awe and wonder as Isla began to speak. "Today, we bring not a beast, but a being," she declared, her voice carrying clear and strong. "A creature that has taught us about resilience, healing, and the profound connections that are possible when we approach with empathy rather than fear." Cameras flashed and recorders whirred as Isla recounted their journey, highlighting the efforts to save the behemoth and the mutual understanding they had developed. The creature itself seemed to participate, its demeanor peaceful, a stark contrast to the historical images of it wreaking havoc displayed on the screens behind her. Following the presentation, the behemoth was carefully moved to its new habitat, a large open area designed to mimic its natural environment as closely as possible while providing safety and monitoring. Isla ensured every step was taken with the creature's comfort in mind, her connection with it guiding the process. The Telix, having played a crucial role in the journey, were honored guests. Many among the crowd were curious about their culture and their bond with the behemoth, leading to several exchanges between the Telix and human researchers, facilitated by Isla. As the days passed, Isla's role transitioned from the behemoth's primary caretaker to an ambassador of sorts, bridging the gap between humanity and the creatures of the stars. Her expertise and unique experience with the behemoth positioned her as a leading figure in xenobiological ethics and care. One evening, as the excitement of the initial arrival settled down, Isla visited the behemoth in its new home. The habitat was quiet, with the soft sounds of a replicated alien ecosystem playing in the background. The behemoth noticed her approach, its eyes lighting up with recognition. "You're going to be okay here," Isla said softly, her hand gently brushing against its scale. "They'll learn so much from you, and maybe we'll learn how to be better ourselves." The behemoth rumbled gently, its large head bowing slightly in what Isla took to be gratitude, or perhaps acknowledgement of her words. As she prepared to leave, Quillix approached her. "Dr. Marin, you have changed our fates. The galaxy will know a new peace because of your courage and compassion." Isla smiled, her heart full. "We did this together, Quillix, and there are many more out there who need help. I think my journey's just beginning." With her path now clear, Isla considered her future. The galaxy was vast, filled with mysteries and beings needing her unique blend of skills. Her experience with the behemoth had opened new horizons, and she was ready to explore them. The next morning, as the Orion's plight prepared for departure, Isla looked back at the habitat one last time. The behemoth was interacting with a group of xenobiologists, a scene of peaceful coexistence that had seemed impossible weeks ago. Turning away, Isla stepped onto her ship, her mind already racing with possibilities. New calls for help were coming in, each one a call to adventure, a chance to make a difference. With a renewed sense of purpose, she set her course for the unknown, her life forever intertwined with the vast, mysterious cosmos. Months after the behemoth's successful recovery and resettlement, the ripples of Isla's groundbreaking work continued to spread throughout the galaxy. The story of the once feared creature's transformation had become a beacon of hope and a testament to the potential for understanding and cooperation between species. Dr. Isla Marin had returned to the frontier, answering calls from across the cosmos where her unique skills were needed. Each mission added to her reputation as a healer who could bridge the cultural and biological divides between humans and alien species. Meanwhile, the legacy of the behemoth was evolving in ways she had only hoped. On Earth and beyond, the creature's story was told and retold, each version highlighting different aspects of its journey, from terrifying beast to a symbol of peace. Educational programs incorporated the behemoth's recovery into their curriculums, using it as a case study for xenobiology, ethics, and the importance of conservation efforts for interstellar species. At the International Space Habitat, the habitat that housed the behemoth had become a center of scientific study and a popular destination for diplomats and tourists alike. Researchers from various disciplines studied the creature's physiology and psychic abilities, eager to understand how its remarkable recovery could be applied to other species. The behemoth itself seemed to thrive in its new environment, showing signs of contentment and even curiosity about its visitors. It interacted with researchers through a series of controlled psychic connections, which were facilitated by Isla's protocols to ensure both its comfort and the safety of the humans involved. Back aboard the Orion's plight, Isla reflected on the changes she had witnessed. She kept a close watch on the ongoing research, and often communicated with the team at the habitat, providing insights and guidance. Her connection with the behemoth, though no longer as direct, remained a profound influence in her life. One particular day, as Isla helped a distant colony deal with a mysterious ecological problem, she received an urgent communication from the habitat. The behemoth had begun to show new, unprecedented behaviors, creating intricate patterns with natural elements in its area, which researchers believed might be a form of communication or art. Intrigued, Isla promised to return and study these developments. The possibility that the behemoth was expressing itself in such a human-like way suggested a depth of intelligence and emotional complexity that had yet to be fully understood. This development sparked a renewed flurry of interest across academic and popular media, with speculations about the cognitive and emotional capacities of such creatures. The behemoth's actions challenged many long-held beliefs about the nature of intelligence and the boundaries between species. As Isla traveled back to Earth, her thoughts were on the broader implications of her work with the behemoth. The creature had not only survived, it was thriving and possibly evolving in its own unique way. This challenged the galactic community to rethink their approach to other formidable alien species, often viewed more as threats or curiosities than as beings with their own rights and potential contributions to the cosmos. Upon her arrival at the habitat, Isla was greeted by a team of excited researchers and a calm, engaging behemoth. She approached the creature, a smile spreading across her face as she prepared to delve deeper into this new chapter of their journey together. The legacy of the behemoth was still unfolding, and Isla was there to witness it, her life's work richer and more vital than ever.